Hello, hey everybody, how's it going? What can I do for you? What can you do for me? I don't know. It's a weird way to start off a video. Um, I'm live. I'm live here on YouTube for the first time in a long time, and I'm actually going to make sure I share this to my Facebook as well, so that people there can follow along if they want. Um, and this is kind of a new segment, I guess. Um, I've been thinking about this the last few days, and I figured this would be the way, easiest way for me to get my point across, I guess. And I'll give you the setup for what happened. Nothing real serious. Like, this is gonna be a casual video. I'm not gonna like call anybody out or make any inflammatory statements. I don't think. Um, I'm not gonna get everybody to arguing. This is all just my opinions on something. You can take that for what you will. Um, but a couple of days ago, let me pull up the comments so that I have it. I'm not going to put this person on blast either because they're just asking me a question. They're not like, or they're not yelling at me. They're not being rude or anything like that. So, um, I when I play games on Twitch, I send them to YouTube after the fact. I export them to YouTube so that I can pad out my YouTube. And I made the title of my video because I was playing Diablo 4, and the title was "This New Gear Upgrade System is the Worst," and I feel that way, and I'm going to explain why. Because there was a comment, and the comment was, "What is the issue you are having with it? I think this season has done it the best." And like I said, I'm not going to call out that person, and I'm not going to start an argument either. I'm not going to be like, "Well, let me tell you everything that's wrong." I'm just going to tell you my feelings on it, and you can take from that what you want. Um, I'll start off by saying I played the first Diablo game way back in the day, way back in the day. I never played two. I played three for 360, and then later when it got brought up, remastered. Well, not really remastered, but I guess re-released for the Xbox One. Um, and at Diablo 3, the loot system was pretty straightforward. It would constantly be dropping new loot, and as you leveled, your old loot would become getting outclassed within 2 or 3 levels of high end playing. And you could upgrade it to a certain extent, but eventually you would have to replace it. You would never be able to keep a piece of gear for more than a few levels because it wouldn't do the job anymore. Now Diablo 4 has had it well it has an upgrade system. This is They just did a recent patch within the last week or two with the new season because they do everything seasonal because it's a live service game now, which I'm also not too pleased with, but it hasn't been too much of a detriment to me at this point. So I'm not gonna be too angry about that. It hasn't been like I played Destiny, the first one. I haven't played the second one because the first one made me so just I swore off any other games from Bungie ever again after the first Destiny. And I didn't like a lot of the live service stuff. I didn't like how much it forced you to be around other people. I understand it's designed for multiplayer, but they also pitched that you could do things solo. And as the game went up and down with the various DLC and expansions and things, sometimes you could do very well solo, sometimes you were really hindered solo, and eventually it settled on kind of an in between kind of mishmash. And I didn't like it. Diablo 4 is better about that. Like, there's nothing in Diablo 4 that forces you to play with other people in multiplayer. You don't have to physically play or play online with other people. It's not a requirement in any way, shape, or form. You can do every bit of content in that game so far without having to have extra people. And I like that. I like having the option. If I do want to play with other people, which is not likely, but it's a possibility, sure. But I like being able to be like, nah, I don't want to. And still being able to accomplish as much as the people in the groups, right? I think it's fair. If a single player can overcome the difficulties and the challenge and everything else to do everything that the group can do, I think that's fair play. I think that's fair play. That's the problem I had with Destiny. Everything was weighted to the point where it was impossible for a single player to do it. Not because it was necessarily difficult content, but because it made it difficult in an artificial way. It made it so that if you didn't have other people, you were hamstrung in certain situations, and it would be impossible to get through various sections because, sorry, you have to have a group. No ifs, ands, or buts. Whereas this Diablo IV doesn't do that, which I like. Now, the gear system, I started playing when Diablo IV hit Game Pass during the season of the Construct. Okay, and I don't know what all the previous seasons were called. You know, I wasn't paying attention because I didn't want to spend full price on Diablo 4 because I'd heard different things, and the live service thing really threw me off. I wanted to wait until I could play it either at a really good price or until it hit Game Pass so that I could try it out. And I probably will purchase it if it ever decides to leave Game Pass because I've ended up liking the majority of it. You know, my fears ahead of time for how it was going to be as a multiplayer thing were pretty much unfounded. You know, so and I take that as a hey, you know, I overreacted about that, and now I know, and that's fine. At least I got a chance to try before I buy, which is fair, and I'll probably end up buying it. No big deal. I'll still probably wait till I get a sale, because that's fair too. That's the economy. But so I started playing during the season of the Construct, and the loot system. It's just like every other Diablo game. There is a definite grind involved once you get past the main storyline of the game and you start getting into the after stuff. They call it end game content. I don't like that term. I'm not really going to use it much, but that's what it's called. But there's a certain amount of grind. With 4, when I started playing, you had a certain amount of upgrades you could do to a piece of gear to bring it up to a certain level. And you could switch out attributes and things to a certain limited extent to kind of customize it for the build you were going for, the strategy you were going for. It wasn't perfect, but, you know, I was able to settle into a groove with certain bits of gear where even if I had to replace something, I could be reasonably certain that I could get something that was as close to what I had before, modify it to where I needed it to be, and then I could continue with the build and the strategy that I had chosen. So Season of the Construct ends, as they do. They last a limited time, and then the next one started. But with the next one, they redid the loot upgrade system. And I don't like it. I think it's terrible because it increases the grind even more. And Diablo as a series is already pretty well known for just the constant having to upgrade and get new stuff to continue facing more difficult challenges and onwards and upwards forever. And they extended it. They made it more. And they moved under the new system. You don't upgrade the gear's levels. You can switch out parts and you can add special abilities to them, but they stay where they were when you got them. So you have to replace them sooner, for one. And then there's a masterwork system, which I haven't even begun to be able to use yet because of 2 things. First, you have to have done the base upgrading under the new system, which is called tempering, to a full set of gear. You have to have a full set of tempered gear. And on the character that's I'm playing with that season, I have several pieces of gear that are pretty critical to how I'm playing that character. And I can't really replace them easily. So I don't want to do the upgrading necessary, because then it will change them. It'll make them so that they're not what they were, and I can't use them the same way. You only have a certain amount of times that you can temper a certain piece of gear. It's a certain amount of rerolls or something like that, and it's limited. So you're kind of forced to change out gear sooner. But once you have one piece of tempered gear in every one of your gear slots, you unlock what's called mastering or masterworking. And that allows you to further increase the level of the gear, conceivably, because I haven't gotten that far yet because I haven't wanted to switch out a lot of my gear. But even once you get to that level, you need special materials, which you've always needed special materials to upgrade things. That's not really any different. But in this case, you need special materials that you can only get as drops during yet another piece of end game content. That's a special arena thing called the pit. And it just, again, increases the grind even more. It makes the game less fun. I mean, people will say, oh, but it's more content. How can you say more content is less fun? Because the content isn't there to enjoy. The content was created specifically to drop the materials you need so that you can upgrade your gear. I don't want yet another bit of game content added on that's not really going to be story related or gameplay related. It's there for the express purpose of letting you upgrade your gear, when they could have just let you upgrade the gear with the existing system in place and just increased amounts of the existing materials, because there are a ton of materials that already exist in the game. There's so much, and they've actually invalidated some of them. You don't even use some of them anymore because now you use this thing. It's a whole new host of things. And the other thing is, on my other characters who are not part of the season, the new season, who were part of Season of the Construct, now they're just part of the base game because they roll out after a season ends and they go to the base game. If you don't know Diablo and all this doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. It sounds more complicated than it is. But if you're a Diablo 4 player, Diablo 3 player, you'll know what about it. But all of the gear that's on my old seasonal characters is now called legacy gear. And you can't do anything further with it. You can't upgrade it any further than where it was when that season ended. Which puts those characters in a really tough spot, because the character that I have that's farthest along, my most powerful character, was part of the last season. And now most of his gear is going to be stagnant, and he is not going to be able to use much of it in the near future if he starts improving further beyond his level, which is the point. Which means he's going to have to get brand new gear under this new system that he can't readily upgrade either, because you have to go to the pit. You got to do this and you got to do this. And first off, he's got to temper everything, and you have to wait until you've picked up tempering recipes to learn how to temper different things to get them close to where you want them. You can't just automatically just start assigning things. So to get him under the new system to the same point where he was under the old one, it's going to take hours and hours and hours of grind and random luck loot drops to do any further improvements. And that just wastes a huge amount of time that I had invested. It just makes it kind of pointless, and I have to shake my head because it's not necessary. Yeah, the old system wasn't perfect, but you didn't really need to gut it the way you did and turn it into whatever it is now with this pit and the masterworking and the tempering. And it's just too much. It's too much. So that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. So, to the person who said, "What is the issue you are having with it?" That is the issue I have with it. And if you feel differently, hey, that's cool. I'm not going to tell you that your opinion is invalid. I'm not going to tell you that because I'm having an issue with it, that you can't say, hey, you know what? I think it's the best there's ever been. It's great. It's fantastic. My characters are super powerful. Great. That's cool. I enjoy it. Like, I'm not going to tell you that you're somehow in the wrong because you're not. You're enjoying the game. And that's the point. The point is to enjoy the game. And you're able to enjoy it the way it is. This way makes it less enjoyable for me. But whatever. I mean, I'm playing it on Game Pass, so I technically haven't paid for it, so I can't say I'm getting my money's worth or anything like that, right? So what do I have to complain about? I can just play other games, right? And that's fair. That's a fair argument, which is why I'm not going to sit here and be mad. I'm not going to go on. I'm not going to send Blizzard a bunch of emails and say you ruined the upgrade. You need to change it back right now. It's not that serious for me. I mean, yeah, it irritates me. It's annoying, but it's just a game. It's just a game in the end. It's not like it's going to be the end of the world. It's not personally going to ruin my life if it doesn't change back or if it stays or whatever. Like, I don't base every day of my life waking up and be like, let's see what new mess they've made in Diablo 4. It's not that serious. Yes, I did just make a whole video about it, but it's just been an explaining video because I like to explain things. I'm an explainer. I'm an explainer. I'm a chronic explainer. Is probably I have said before that it's probably a character flaw, and it probably is. But that's how I feel about it. If you have other comments and you want to have a civil discussion, don't come at me and tell me that I'm a bunch of bad names and I'm this and I'm that and I just suck at games and whatnot. And don't tell me to get good and whatever because who cares? If you have legitimate, like, hey, you know what, I like it and this is why, or I don't really agree with you and this is why, by all means drop a comment on this video. I would love to hear your opinion. I'm not always going to agree with you, but I'm not going to come out and be like, well, that's, you're obviously not seeing whatever and you're, I'm not going to be like that. I'm just gonna be like, all right, that's cool, that's cool, it's no big deal. If you really want to see me get angry and upset about something, just get me started talking about the System Shock remake, the remaster from Night Dive. I haven't even played that game yet. That's the problem. I have not been able to play that game yet, and that is the problem. That's a whole video all in itself. And maybe I'll do that for my next video. Maybe I'll talk about that. Because the game's supposed to come out on consoles in 2 days. And if I have it at that time, the way that I am supposed to, maybe I'll see about talking about it. And if I don't, I will definitely rant about it. I will definitely rant and rave and raise holy hell about it. And I think I'll be justified. Just the thought of it makes me want to get riled up. But that's a whole different video. This was Diablo 4. This is the loot system. That's the problem I have with the loot system right now, as opposed to what it was with the last season. But it's whatever. It is what it is. If it changes again, okay. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'll probably keep playing with new characters again, because that's Diablo. The grind continues forever. Anyway, let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel and to this video. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you could help me out and tell your friends about this. Lots of other content on this channel, lots of things for people to enjoy or to not enjoy, whatever. I'm not everybody's taste, but if you liked anything from this channel, please subscribe to it, and please share it with your friends, and please like some of the videos, and help me out on my road to monetization, because that would be fantastic. It won't cost you anything. You don't have to join any clubs. You don't have to pay for any services. If I get enough subscribers and enough viewers, I get monetized with ads. And yeah, you got to watch advertisements. I don't like advertisements. I hate them. I almost dropped a bomb there. I almost was like, I hate them because that's how much I don't like them. But I understand it's necessary for YouTube to get its revenue, whatever. And if that's the sacrifice I have to make for YouTube to pay me for my contribution, fine, whatever. But like, share, subscribe, help me out. And if you have a channel, I will help you out. That's it. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.